Day 7 of Brown's training camp was never supposed to change the story. The quarterback plan in Cleveland was set in stone. Joe Flacco would be the steady veteran, Dillon Gabriel would get every chance to grow into the future starter, and Shedeur Sanders, the rookie taken in the 5th round, would quietly sit back and learn. That was the script. But sometimes reality doesn't follow the script, and on this day, with just a sliver of opportunity, Shedeur Sanders completely shattered the narrative the Browns front office worked so hard to control, and reportedly, Jimmy Haslam was far from happy about it. For weeks, Shedeur had been treated like an afterthought. No matter how sharp his throws looked, no matter how quickly he read defenses, the reps just weren't there. Day after day, he was stuck with the third-team offense, throwing to guys fighting for practice squad spots, while Gabriel got the top-tier weapons and clean pockets. Fans could see the difference, yet the coaches kept pushing the same line. "We're just rotating. It's all part of the process." But today, they couldn't keep Shedeur out of the real action forever. Finally, he got a chance to face Cleveland's starting defense, the elite unit led by Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Greg Newsome, and he turned that opportunity into a message the entire organization felt. The first rep told you everything. Garrett came screaming off the edge untouched, the pocket collapsing instantly. Most rookies would panic, throw the ball away, or take a sack. Shedeur didn't. He slid right, kept his eyes locked downfield, and fired a dart to Gage Larvadain for a chain-moving gain. The sideline perked up. 2 plays later, against tight man coverage from Denzel Ward, Shedeur dropped back, trusted his read, and zipped a strike to Cade McDonald in a window barely big enough for the ball to fit. It was the kind of throw that makes defensive backs glance at each other and coaches raise their eyebrows. Even his one incompletion wasn't a bad pass. It was a perfectly timed crossing route that nearly connected despite being blanketed by one of the league's best secondaries. These weren't safe rookie-level passes. These were fearless NFL-caliber throws made with confidence and precision, and he did it all without the luxury of Cleveland's top offensive weapons. No star tight end, no first-string receivers, no top-tier protection. Just second-team players fighting for a roster spot against one of the most dominant defenses in the league. The result? A rookie making plays, commanding the huddle, showing poise that screamed starter potential, not developmental project. Now let's talk about Dillon Gabriel, the hand-picked third-round investment who's been gifted every chance to win this job. On day 7, Gabriel got the dream scenario. First-team offense, clean pockets, star receivers, and the second-team defense across from him. If there was ever a setup to show he belonged, this was it. And yet, what happened? 3 straight incompletions on his opening series. 1 ball thrown away, 1 late read nearly picked off, and another wide miss on a basic timing route. His lone touchdown later in practice was a dump-off pass that Gage Larvadain turned into a highlight by breaking tackles and sprinting to the end zone. The throw itself? Nothing special. And everyone watching knew it. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. On one field, a 5th-round rookie facing elite defenders with backups by his side was making NFL throws. On the other, a higher draft pick surrounded by talent was looking overwhelmed. Fans in the stands saw it. They pulled out their phones, captured every dime Shedeur threw, and within minutes, social media was ablaze with one message. The best quarterback in Cleveland isn't getting treated like it, and this is where the drama takes a turn. Reports started swirling that Jimmy Haslam, the same owner who earlier in the week publicly admitted he didn't sign off on drafting Shedeur, was far from pleased that this storyline had slipped out of his control. For weeks, the organization tried to sell Gabriel as the next man up, protecting the front office's draft decision and keeping Shedeur on the back burner. But day 7 blew that plan to pieces. The rookie they wanted to keep quiet had just taken on the best defense in camp and looked like he belonged, maybe more than anyone expected. And suddenly, all the carefully laid narratives were falling apart. Inside the facility, whispers are spreading. Some say Haslam is frustrated that this situation is turning into a full-blown quarterback controversy. Others believe he's unhappy that a 5th-round pick is outplaying the investment he and his front office backed in Gabriel. Either way, one thing is certain. The performance Shedeur delivered today has made it impossible to keep hiding him behind depth chart politics. The locker room saw it. The fans saw it. And no amount of damage control can erase what happened on that F. Inside the facility, whispers are spreading. Some say Haslam is frustrated that this situation is turning into a full-blown quarterback controversy. Others believe he's unhappy that a 5th-round pick is outplaying the investment he and his front office backed in Gabriel. Either way, one thing is certain. The performance Shedeur delivered today has made it impossible to keep hiding him behind depth chart politics. The locker room saw it. The fans saw it, and no amount of damage control can erase what happened on that field. Shedeur Sanders didn't just take advantage of an opportunity, he demanded attention. Every throw, every read, every ounce of composure told the same story. This isn't a developmental project. This is a quarterback ready to compete for a starting role right now. And if the Browns keep ignoring that, the pressure from the outside, and maybe even inside the locker room, is only going to get louder. Day 7 wasn't supposed to be a turning point, but thanks to Shedeur, it might just be the day Cleveland's quarterback plan completely unraveled. If Day 7 of Browns training camp proved anything, it's that the conversation about this quarterback room can't be controlled anymore. Shedeur Sanders didn't just earn attention, he commanded it, leaving everyone asking the same question. How long can Cleveland keep pretending this rookie isn't the most talented quarterback on the field? And from what's being whispered behind closed doors, Jimmy Haslam isn't handling the shift in narrative well. According to multiple reports, Haslam was visibly frustrated once Shedeur's highlights against the starting defense started circulating online. Clips of him stepping up in the pocket, delivering frozen ropes under pressure, and making throws Gabriel hasn't made all camp were spreading like wildfire on social media. The chants from fans at open practice got louder. Radio stations and local analysts were saying what the coaching staff has avoided for weeks. Shedeur Sanders is outplaying a third-round pick with every opportunity he gets. The owner's frustration isn't hard to understand. The plan was simple. Protect the front office's decision, back Gabriel as the quarterback of the future, and keep Shedeur buried as a developmental option. But Day 7 flipped that narrative on its head. The rookie they didn't want to acknowledge went up against Cleveland's elite defense and didn't just survive, he delivered. And now, the entire organization looks like it's ignoring the obvious because of draft politics. Inside the building, players are quietly talking. Veteran defenders who lined up against Shedeur walked off the field impressed, saying his poise and ball placement caught them off guard. Offensive players are starting to whisper that they want to see what he can do with the starters, because the chemistry he's creating with backups is already undeniable. Leadership in an NFL locker room isn't given, it's earned. And every time Shedeur steps into a huddle, more players are starting to believe he's the one who can lead this team long-term. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel can feel the walls closing in. Every mistake he makes, every late throw, every missed read is magnified because of what Shedeur is doing on the other side of the field. Gabriel's frustration is visible. He's pressing in drills, forcing throws he shouldn't, trying to make highlight plays just to keep up with a fifth-round rookie stealing the spotlight. But every time he falters, the calls for Shedeur only grow louder. Fans aren't waiting quietly anymore. At open practices, the chants for Shedeur are starting before drills even begin. Social media is filled with side-by-side comparisons of his throws versus Gabriel's, and the difference is embarrassing for the coaching staff trying to keep the depth chart in order. The people of Cleveland have waited years for a quarterback they can believe in, and they're not interested in hearing about draft positions or long-term plans. They've seen enough to know who gives this team a spark. Reports suggest that Haslam's frustration isn't just with Shedeur's rise, but with how it's exposing the Browns' front office. The optics are terrible. A fifth-round pick they didn't want is outplaying their hand-picked third-round quarterback. A rookie they tried to ignore is making a legitimate case for starter reps, while the future face of the franchise keeps looking average. Every day this continues, it looks less like a competition and more like the organization is trying to protect its own mistakes. The reality is simple. Shedeur Sanders has forced his way into the conversation through production, not politics. He's not riding hype, he's not asking for special treatment, and he's not benefiting from first-team advantages. Every rep he's been given, he's maximized. Every opportunity, no matter how small, he's turned into a statement. And now that statement is echoing across the league. The Browns might already have their quarterback of the future, and they're the last ones to admit it. Haslam can be furious. The front office can spin their words. The coaching staff can stick to their script about rotations and development. But none of that changes what's happening on the field. Day 7 proved that Shedeur Sanders can make NFL throws against elite NFL defenders under real pressure. That kind of talent doesn't stay buried forever, not when the locker room knows it, the fans know it, and every practice rep keeps proving it. The Browns can keep delaying the inevitable, but every day they do, the story gets bigger. The chants get louder. The questions from media become harder to dodge, and the comparisons between Shedeur and Gabriel turn more lopsided. If Cleveland is serious about winning, there's only one move that makes sense. Give the rookie a real shot. Let him work with the starters. See what he can do with the full offense. Because at this point, the only thing holding Shedeur Sanders back isn't talent, it's politics. Day 7 was supposed to be a small test, a dog bone thrown to the rookie to keep people quiet. Instead, it may have been the first crack in the Browns' quarterback plan. Shedeur didn't just pass the test, he exposed the truth. And now the entire football world is watching to see how long Cleveland can keep denying what's right in front of them. The clock is ticking, and every rep Shedeur takes only makes the case stronger. The Browns' future under center is already here, and his name is Shedeur Sanders.